Hey look, it's Popeye's damsel in distress. Here's your look at the new Boss Fight Studio Popeye Classics Olive Oil with Sweet Pea. Everyone's favorite sailor man and his crew are finally coming to highly articulated figure form. Drawing inspiration from the classic Sagar comic strips, these figures are sure to delight all Popeye fans. These 1/12 scale figures stand between 4 and 6 inches tall, depending on the figure. Olive comes with Sweet Pea, removable hat, alternate hands, alternate head, and soft goods fabric skirt. An alternate Sweet Pea head for multiple expressions. If I was Bluto, I don't know if I would be messing with Popeye's main squeeze, or I might find myself getting the main squeeze. Before we get a closer look at Popeye's girlfriend, Olive Oil, let's grab the old tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. And while I'm doing this as well, I'd like to send a big thank you to the folks over at Boss Fight Studio that did provide the sample of the Popeye Classics Olive Oil. I will be bringing in Sweet Pea in a moment, though Olive Oil in the meantime is about 5 inches in height, or the figure's 12 centimeters tall. And speaking of squeezing sailors, let's slide over Olive Oil and bring in her rather muscular boyfriend. Here's what she looks like with Popeye, a figure that we've already had a look at here on this channel. In the case here, as always the case, Olive Oil is going to be taller than Popeye, but still to look at this, I feel like Popeye's Olive Oil probably should have still been a little bit taller than what we get here, but she is a good, long, lanky drink of water to go along and accompanying Popeye when you're displaying her on your shelf. As for Popeye's Sweetie Patooties accessories, the figure comes included with swappable hands, yes. The figure comes also included with an interchangeable head sculpt. But to start things first in this review, let's look at tiny little Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea. Tiny little, no real articulation basically from this part of the body down, but at least Sweet Pea does have articulation in the head, where you can move the head up, down, back and forth, and the arms also have the freedom to move back and forth. If you, though, don't prefer this head sculpt, as nice as it may be, Sweet Pea also comes with an alternate, more angrier expression instead. Just though, before we do that, Sweet Pea comes included with a tiny little hat. The hat, was surprised to see, was actually magnet. You could actually easily tilt the figure upside down and you'll see that Sweet Pea's hat is going nowhere. The thing about the magnet, though, is I feel like the magnet is too far on the forehead on Sweet Pea. Instead of sitting far back like this, the magnet always wants to pull the hat forward. I don't know if it's always the case like this in the comics or the cartoon where Sweet Pea's hat sits this far low. I would have preferred, again, like the hat to be a little further back. But again, like the magnet just continues to force it forward. Though to change the head sculpt out, there is also the angrier expression version of Sweet Pea as well. You simply just take the body, yank the head off the ball joint, that's quite easy to do, and then replace it with the more angrier expression, and then that just pops back onto the ball joint. The magnet works exactly the same way, though the magnet, again, in this case, pulls the hat, I think to the point even worse than the original head sculpt, where it almost covers the face completely. You can kind of get around it by twisting the hat slightly to the side. That sort of disrupts the magnet's pull, but still it always seems to pull the hat, I feel, a little too far forward. I feel like in a case like this, it probably should have been easier just to attach the head, just kind of attach the hat, I should say, just rest it on the hat instead of actually having the magnet being the thing that's working behind the scenes. But so there's still Sweet Pea. Glad to see that it came included with Olive Oil. Olive Oil, though like Sweet Pea, comes also included with an alternate head sculpt. Although before doing that, the figure also comes included with a couple of grabbing hands, which I think are more better suited for holding Sweet Pea in her arms. You can also have the figure resting of Sweet Pea on top of her hands as well. I was doing it at the beginning of the review, simply just using the gripping hands, but if you did want to change the hands out, it's simply just a case of holding onto the forearm, yanking then the hands off from the ball joints. Again, the plastic's really good on all these figures. Popping the new hand then in place, just wiggling back and forth. And then with the joint provided, you can bend the arm, bend the elbow, I should say, and then you can have Sweet Pea sort of resting on her arm. That's not enough, of course, to hold it. Just the weakness of the shoulders isn't be able to hold Sweet Pea on its own. But you can then bring the arms around, and you can have her resting, sort of holding Sweet Pea as best you can get it, kind of with the arm underneath to brace it and hold the baby, and then the other arm just to sort of hold it in place. You can do it like that. I had it a little further up in the beginning of the review. It's entirely up to you how you'd like to do that, though. The figure also comes included. Just get our arms to straight here for a second. There we go. The figure also comes included with a closed fist, a pair of, I should say, of closed fists. Punching fists. Popeye can't be the only one, of course, punching people. She has this also as well. Fending back, of course, the wants and wishes of Bluto. Now, again, like the plastic on this is, again, very good. It's a little on the more smoother side, so sometimes a little harder to hold the plastic hands here. But again, like you can swap those hands out also as well if you wanted to. Just before we change out the head sculpt for olive oil, actually, you know what, let's just move Sweet Pea out of the way for right now. Here's what the alternate head sculpt looks like. You can see definitely a different demeanor when it comes to olive oil. The eyebrows now becoming caterpillars carried across the top of her forehead. These ones to the side, more playful, a little more friendlier, certainly on her face. It's entirely up to you how you'd prefer. I think myself, at least, I prefer to have her a little bit more happy-go-lucky than quite angry, like she's screaming at somebody. If, though, you did want to change out the head, it's just as easy to do as Sweet Pea. Just wiggle the head off the ball post. Pop it off, there we go. And then just replace it with the angrier head sculpt if you prefer. Really, again, of the two, I prefer to have the more neutral expression face. But again, I like the idea that they gave us two different head options available. With the way they've actually panel lined just above the mouth here, it actually kind of gives her a little bit of a look like she's got a mustache. Still a nice looking head sculpt, and I like the way they've actually sculpted the eyes and the eyebrows instead of simply just painting it onto the plastic itself. Still, though, let's go ahead. You know what? As good as this may be, I do want to stick with the more original head sculpt. Pop that back into place. In the live-action movie, Olive Oil was played by Shelley Duvall. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. I wonder how many of you get that reference. Anyways, though, for the rest of the figure, other than the detail work that they put into the head sculpt, which, again, top-notch, looks like the classic cartoon and comic strip. For the body down below, though, she does have the frill around the top of her dress. She has the plastic here more in a burgundy color, and they've given her a soft goods bottom skirting, which is nicely done in black with a little striping of yellow down below here. If you were to lift up the dress, be a little bit appropriate, hopefully, you can see that she does have bare legs, and she does have, again, functioning knee articulation, which we will be looking at as well. Just as, again, as classic as the dress that she wears, Olive Oil is also known for these big clunking boots that she always wears. They're very large, and I can't even imagine what size of footwear that she actually does carry or wear, but you can see that she does have peg holes on the undersides of her boots. For the figure's articulation, going back to her head sculpt, Olive Oil's head rotates all the way around via that ball joint we've already had a look at. It does allow the head to look quite far down, and equally well high up as well, so you can have her looking out to the skies. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. The head does also rock back and forth as well. You can take the arms and hinge those out comfortably, easily at 90 degrees. You can take those arms and rotate them also all the way around, and that's the case on both the sides. The figure has also a single hinge on the elbow. One thing to note about the elbow is when you get the figure out of the packaging, it looks like this. And you may think for a second, that's all you're getting for elbow articulation. No, it's actually a case where you have to rotate it around. You see, you actually get a lot more of a hinge when you hopefully find the right side that the arm has to bend. Getting this side, you get at least about a 90-degree angle bend, maybe a little less than that. Hands rotate also all the way around. The figure's upper torso is on a ball joint. The legs do split, although a little hindered by the fact she does have the fabric dress. You bring the legs forward, you can bring the legs back, and as we've already looked up, be careful. Don't be a little decent. The knees do bend right here. You can also rotate the lower leg. And the figure does have ankle articulation both this way and this way also as well. All in all, good-looking Olive Oil. And again, the benefit of this Olive Oil is not just the fact that the figure comes with an alternate head sculpt, not just the fact that the figure comes with alternate hands, but the figure also comes included with Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea! I do like the look of this figure quite a lot. The only thing I would have said about, not so much Olive Oil, more so for Sweet Pea, is I do wish that the hat was found a better way to sit on the head of Sweet Pea. Whether you go with this head sculpt expression or the alternate one, the magnet, again, always seems to want to pull it further down. I really want to kind of have it here, but the magnet apparently has better ideas. And again, one last time to bring back in the boyfriend. Here's what she looks like with Popeye, of course. Let's just move her back just a little bit here. Yeah, they're doing a whole line of Popeye figures, all of which we will be looking at in upcoming reviews. If you're not one to necessarily get castor oil, for example, or I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to get Bluto, but if you want to just get like a Popeye and Olive Oil, great looking figures as a couple to be displayed on your shelf. Not really sure what's angering Olive Oil and Sweet Pea so much, but considering that these two heads aren't ones that are likely going to be finding their way onto the figure's body when I'm having these figures on display, I did at least want to show them off here in final looks, as they are quite easy to do, simply just a case of popping them off both the ball joints that are provided on the tops of their necks, and the heads are quite easy to remove. As certainly something I've also always commended Boss Fight Studios for doing, is using the type of plastic that's very user-friendly. Anytime that I'm removing either one of the heads, either for Sweet Pea or Olive Oil, I never get that feeling, that uncomfortableness, like I'm going to be breaking a peg. The plastic is not quite rubbery, but it definitely has sort of more of a rubbery feel to it. But it's a good, dense quality plastic that they're using not only for the Popeye figures, but so far everything that we've looked at from the company itself. Olive oil does have some decent articulation, maybe not as much as Popeye, although when you are getting the figure out of the packaging, you just want to make sure that you've got the arm facing the right way. When I first took her out of the packaging, I thought and assumed that the elbow only had limited articulation. Sure enough, it was the case that I did show you in this review, that I had to simply just twist the arm around, and the longer point of the joint was actually on the back of the arm, not on the front. So if you do have a similar problem and you think that you're not going to get as much mileage, much bend out of the elbow, just make sure that you've got the arm facing the right way. Big thank you once again to the folks over at Boss Fight Studio that provided the brand new samples of the Popeye Classics figures. And in this review, of course, we were having a look at Popeye's girlfriend herself, Olive Oil, along with Sweet Pea. Could this be a line that you could see yourselves picking up? And are you a big fan of the original Popeye the Sailor Man? And do you have any idea what I was talking about with Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall? Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Definitely need to check that out. Literally, you just look it up in YouTube as look up, Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall, and it goes on for about 15 minutes. Either way, if you guys enjoyed this video, want to hit with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing, and you certainly do want to stick around for some more Popeye classic figure reviews, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and that you're also turning on the bell notification. And of course, as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.